The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, Thursday evening. With us today is the GOP chairwoman of New Jersey, Christine Hanlon. And, well, Christine, I mean, you've been working hard lately, and there's so many problems in New Jersey, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. There's a new information around that in Newark, New Jersey, there was a program to get 16 and 17-year-olds voting in an experimental program for local elections. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, this was a pilot program in New Jersey, which was very, very expensive, and it had to do with allowing students as young as 16 to vote in a school election, and this happened this week. It was a very, very poor turnout for 16 and 17-year-olds, so the return on the very expensive investment was very, very low. And, you know, of course, the taxpayers foot the bill for that.
What I'm worried about is I can understand voting in school elections, but were they able to vote in regular elections?
No, and that's what complicates things because it was only for certain elections. And, you know, in New Jersey, there's always some tweak every year that confuses people, that complicates elections, that costs a lot of money. And, you know, unfortunately, it just happens year after year. And this was one of those things that didn't pan out so well, and the taxpayers have to foot the bill. Now, I just want to be clear. I am all about inspiring young people to understand how to vote and get involved in elections. But, you know, there are ways to do this, and we really have to instill, you know, the importance of voting and civics education in our schools. But voting itself at 16 is, you know, this pilot program didn't turn out very well. It was a super low number of young people who turned out to vote. And again, the taxpayers are footing the bill, but you can educate students in other ways without paying all this money and complicating elections. You know, we can teach in our schools. I do a program myself in Monmouth County where I go out to the high schools and I teach students the fundamentals of voting. And that's the way we should be getting young people involved in our elections. Education.
Understood.
Not spending $1 million to, you know, with no return on investment.
Any other problems you want to talk about this Thursday evening? I mean, Joe...
How much time do you have? No.
I got a few minutes. I mean, give me one more problem.
You know what? In New Jersey right now, we are dealing with the World Cup. And I'm sure you have heard about this. You know,
yes, that's very interesting. Can you tell New York? Can you tell all Americans, New York and New Jersey, the truth of what's going on?
Yeah, so we have a planning problem here in New Jersey. You know, the governor and, you know, all the officials were very intent on getting New Jersey to be a site for the World Cup. Washington gave us a ton of money to, you know, offset costs. And generally speaking, this type of event is really good for the economy and for tourism and, you know, all that stuff. But now we're having this big issue as to who's going to pay for transportation. And New Jersey Transit is proposing that, like, everybody who gets on the train to see the World Cup here in New Jersey, the matches, they're going to pay $150.
That doesn't make any sense. How much money
there's a big battle about that.
How much money did the federal government give New Jersey?
I believe it was over $10 million.
And now New Jersey, the governor has made the decision that they want the trains to charge them how much per passenger?
$150. So this is a big issue here. There's a lot going on. Everyone's wondering, number one, what happened to that money? And then there was the proposed sales tax increase. So, a lot of money issues, problems, making decisions. But I think one of the biggest issues is, where was the planning? Why are we dealing with this right now? This is a massive event that has been, everybody knew about this in New Jersey for a very long time. And now all of a sudden, when this is happening in July of this year,
wow.
Where was the planning? Where was, all of the things that should have been
all of a sudden, it's a crisis for July, and then we're only like 60 days away, 60 or 70 or 80. Yeah.
And one thing that was really disappointing was that, as part of like poor planning, there was supposed to be this big fan festival and in New Jersey for the fans in Jersey City. That was canceled. So it just really is problematic.
So is this basically come down to the Democrats fighting the Trump syndrome?
This particular issue, I don't think it's that.
I hope not.
The question is, where did the money go? And why are we dealing with this now? Shouldn't have this been all planned already? Shouldn't have people, and of course,
Well, Christine, stay on top of it. We're out of time.
The Democrats have, and this is an issue for New Yorkers.
And New Jerseyites.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Stay on top of it. Let's stay on top of it, and let's talk again real soon.
Okay, take care. Have a great day.